You're watching AwJiz Boys Show.
Hey listeners, ready to indulge in something irresistibly sweet?
Absolutely. If you got a sweet tooth that needs satisfying, head over to Chocolate Bash, Sacramento at 8304 Delta Shores. They're crafting some of the most delightful chocolate treats around.
Immerse yourself in their luxurious selection of chocolate desserts that do more than satisfy your cravings. They make a statement of indulgence and celebration.
Whether it's a quick sweet snack or a full dessert extravaganza, Chocolate Bash Sacramento has got you covered.
Dive into their delightful offerings and take your taste buds on a journey at Chocolate Bash. And remember, use our special promo code AwJiz for 10% off your purchases.
And now, let's get back to the show. Welcome, everyone, to the AwJiz Boys Podcast. My name is Kane.
I'm Dauood.
And today we have a special guest. Actually, a reoccurring guest that you guys are going to see time to time. Right now, we have Yama, a.k.a. Pashtoon Goon. Yama, welcome again to the AwJiz Boys.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We're happy you're here, dude. Your last episode was a hit with the gays. They,
I see the comments.
They loved you.
Wow.
No, it was very divisive, I think,
For sure.
being here. But I think it was good. A lot of good comments and a lot of good discussions. We got called Kuni less in that episode than any other episode, I think.
I noticed that as well, yeah.
That is a good point. You're right.
Yeah, so we got called misogynist and Talibs a whole bunch.
Talib, I noticed that Talib sympathizer, yeah.
Yeah, and the more I think about it, I think I prefer that over being called Kuni over and over again.
I just think I'm so used to being called Kuni.
Yeah, you've just become one.
No. That's the behavior that I'm like, okay, that's what you guys are going to do. Because those guys that are even saying the negative comments aren't even watching the full episode.
No, 100%.
Of course, no.
So,
nobody who's watched the full episode has hated on us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The YouTube is most 99% positive.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you watch if you get the full context of who we are,
Yeah.
then you'll really hate us. No, then you understand, like, you know what I'm saying, we're kind of open-minded, but we also are trying to be as cultural as possible and sensitive, but also we just want to be funny. No harm
first.
here.
Entertainment first, and at the same time, like we say this all the time, like Afghans, we're all different, so it's best to just bring different conversations, and maybe some things you might agree with and sometimes you might not. I did get some feedback from some people that would say, hey, somebody could take this content, the last episode, and say you guys are making the Talib seem like they're doing a better job, which I get. That person actually watched our episode and said that. Do you know? Did you get any feedback like that, Doug?
I did get a little bit of stuff like that, and those types of things I appreciate. Okay. Right? That you can have a conversation.
Yeah.
Kuni, I don't know how I'm supposed to defend myself against this thing. Do I have to show you having sex with a woman? Like, how do I? There's no defense here. But when you write like a thoughtful thing, like, hey, you're whitewashing the Talibs, or you know, they're super. There's like a gender apartheid. That's what we're saying, and we're minimizing that.
Yeah.
Understandable. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
We tried our best to push back on ideas that can be oppressive or negative.
Yeah.
But you know, we're a comedian and a marketing major. So
exactly.
we're gonna do our best.
I'm not a marketing major, sure, but
You're not a marketing major?
no, I was a bio major.
You're a bio major?
Biology.
I think it's like kinesiology or some shit.
Not kinesiology either.
It's just regular biology?
But I wanted to get into organic chemistry, but then I just
Became a marketing guy?
So he was going to go the doctor route, essentially.
I just don't want to have this conversation.
I want to have this.
No.
Have you had this with your parents yet? Have they talked to you about this?
They don't know.
Why aren't you a doctor?
We talked about it, and if you guys want to see it, it's on the Patreon. So it's on episode 1 of the Patreon. If you guys want to know the full conversation about the beginning or the genesis of the AwJiz Boys,
the genocide,
Dauood and Kane,
parental discipline.
Please check out our Patreon, and that's a good way for you guys to support the podcast. But today, this is not about the Patreon. Today, we're going to talk about. I want to talk about something that's kind of serious. So if you guys are watching thus far and you had some chuckles, it's going to end now.
Yeah, I hope you weren't laughing yet. I'm going to get extra funny because it's going to get serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have some serious topics, but this is going to be, we'll be serious for as long as we can.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have to be funny because that's my nature, you know.
Okay, dog, we can be funny, but I want to talk about something serious. I want to talk about death in just in life that you have to deal with?
How about this? How are you doing, Nemo?
You know, I'm doing all right, man. You know, my father just passed away. You know, recently, so I've just been taking care of all his funeral arrangements, and you know, it's really hard, especially when you know you're the only one that's. It comes all of a sudden. In Muslim culture and Afghan culture, we have to bury our loved ones within a few days, preferably 3 or 4 days, no more than a week. Whereas like Americans, like Safedo, they could take weeks at a time because they embalm the body. We don't embalm our loved ones. You know, Islamically, you can't do that.
For sure.
It's funny because Muslims love the bombing. But
Right when you said it's funny, I knew you were going.
Sorry. Anyway, continue.
No,
Thank
it's
you.
all good. But yeah, you know, it's yeah, you know,
Crowd, huh? Okay.
I've been hanging in there. I'm the law, but it's one thing that's promised to us is death. We're all gonna die, you know. So just handling everything. It's harder than planning a wedding. Planning a funeral apparently, and it's weddings. Obviously, you have more time. You have like months to do it, even sometimes even a year, and you have multiple people working on it. When a loved one passes away, especially if that loved one only had one child or 2 children, you know, it comes all of a sudden all on you. So you have to, you know, and inshallah, like my dad, luckily he had some affairs in order to where he was paying for a plot, but I could only imagine like an only child and his parents had nothing, no plot, no burial, no mortuary stuff, nothing. It's just going from zero. It's just, especially Islam and Muslim and Afghan culture, we have to bury within, like I said, 3 or 4 days, preferably less than a week. And, you know, he got buried 4th of July weekend. It was a holiday weekend, too. So, you know, it was hard, but alhamdulillah, we got through it, man. So,
Yeah, man. Well, first off, our condolences.
thank you.
Right?
What
is this? Yeah. What's the thing they're supposed to say? Zindagi Sarat?
Zindagi Khuda biyamroza, zindagi sar shama bashe.
Zindagi Sarat Shama, which is the universe on your head.
The literal translation will be, may life be over you, I guess.
May life be over you.
That's,
okay. Yeah, my uncle, obviously, great man. It was, and I was there for a lot of the process. Dude, this shit is hella hard. Nobody tells you that the cemetery and the mortuary, those are separate things. Did you know this?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, well, we didn't know.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I don't have enough. I didn't have nobody die.
And shout out to Dauood Naimyar. He's my brother. You know, he was literally one of the only people that were helping me through this process. So without him, I would just, you know, you go from like not having enough time to mourn, unfortunately, especially when it comes, because if there's other people to take care of it, like 4 or 5 people, multiple people,
For sure.
you can kind of sit back and mourn and be sad. But I had to jump into action and take care of this stuff, because who else is going to take care of it? So,
That's true.
You were the only son. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, you had a great relationship with your father. You're very close. You guys would talk a lot. So, like, a lot of it was put onto you. But you're also not, it is tough. From what I've seen, there's so much effort and work that you have to put in that you don't get a chance to mourn, like you were saying. You know? So do you think, it's been a little while now, and we're still going through it, obviously. Have you felt the mourning process at all? Have you had a chance to cry alone or any of that stuff? Do you feel comfortable in talking about that?
Yeah, of course. It's been delayed, obviously. You know, in Islam, you can't mourn more than 3-4 days. However, you know, it's you know, he passed away at 73 years old, so he wasn't super young, but he wasn't super old either. But alhamdulillah, he didn't have like any type of cancer or any like a lot of physical pain before he passed away, so I'm happy for that. I've seen a lot of loved ones in my family and friends bury the loved ones where they're going through years of cancer. The cancer went away and came back, and they were in and out of chemotherapy, and it's a lot of pain, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
A lot of times they're like, "Hold on, just take me," because I'm in so much pain. Alhamdulillah, my dad never had pain. Like he did it when he went with no pain, you know. So that's the thing I was happy about. So, but he was, you know, he was more rational. So he had all his affairs in order. He's like, "Bachim, here's a few $1,000s in an envelope for the burial stuff. Here's my Yagwarak Kaske." He was paying an Afghan association. They reserved for my cemetery plot. So when I pass away, it's here in this closet, in this file, you know, so I was able to find it. So he put his affairs in order before he passed
That's
away.
amazing.
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations, any suggestions, any notes that you would recommend to somebody that is going through the process? Something that you learned from all this?
100%. It was a big learning experience. I would recommend to everyone to please learn from me. And
Like, what's the thing that you like regret, or you were like, I wish I knew this ahead of time, that you can give to somebody out there listening?
you know, the thing was, Afghan is built on trust in other Afghans. So my dad was paying an Afghan, I don't know the exact name, it was like Afghan Association of America or something like that.
Okay.
But it was so sketchy when we called the number. It went directly, and they said
It was disconnected.
Yeah, I was like, sorry, this number is not it.
way.
And that's the last thing you want to hear about Shane when your loved one passes away, bro.
100%.
And then we call the second number. There's two numbers there. There's a home line or like a main line and then a cell number.
Got it.
We call the cell number and this guy's like, yeah, hello. And we're like, hey, we're calling about this funerals things. And he goes, yeah, I don't work there. I haven't worked there in like 5 years. Yeah. And we're like, what? Why are you on this freaking page?
Like, that's the last thing you want to hear. Afghans are so, like, disorganized.
Yeah.
I went from sad to, like, hella heated, bro. And I was
sure.
frustrated. Like, you check some the GS company, yes, their number doesn't work. This guy's like, I haven't worked there in 5 years or whatever. Maybe more than that.
He referred us.
He referred us to another guy that still does it. And the other guy that does it does, like, real estate full-time. That's, like, his part-time gig or whatever.
Yeah, he's a part-time plot owner for
Undertaker.
funerals.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a part-time Undertaker.
Undertaker. Afghan Undertaker.
That's fun.
Yeah, he's just coming around choke slamming people. But yeah, and I recommend going through like a mosque or a masjid.
Yeah,
like,
so I was gonna say to all my Afghans out there. First of all, it's never easy to talk about death, and I talk about with my mom a few years ago. I was like, Dad had his affairs in order. She got all sad and emotional. She's like, "Bachim, choro bara she's all about me." Like she got all sad. I was like, I don't. But the thing is, you have to be not emotional. The opposite of emotional is rational. You got to be more rational. Everybody dies. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Assholes live forever.
Yeah, I will. I'm never gonna die.
So
I'll die tomorrow.
But the thing I recommend is that don't go through the Afghans, bro. Like not to knock on any of these Afghan associations. Go through the Islamic ones, the reputable, and have some type of contract. Because I asked this individual, do you contract? I asked Coco John, he's older than me. I was like, he gets all mad. He's like, Chimigi, it's built off the Afghan trust, why are you asking me for contract? He got all offended. I'm like, but why, like, Coco John, why are you yelling at me this time? My dad just died, bro.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like, I was like getting heated, but I was still respecting him because he's my elder. But I'm like, they're so disorganized. There's no contract. And turns out my father, when he initially signed up for this, he was under the impressions that the mortuary costs, cemetery costs, everything was taken care of. When he gave me the few $1,000s in that pocket, that was for the mullah and to invite people to eat,
Oh, wow.
But it wasn't for like it wasn't. He was under the impression that the mortuary and cemetery was covered. Apparently, last year, the guy that handled all this stuff, he said that last year they had a meeting and they don't no longer cover because of the rising cost and inflation. They cover less and less.
That's why if you do happen to go with the Afghans,
Please get a waraq, get a contract, get something in writing.
Get an English contract.
Yeah,
everything was
notarized and like legitimate, so that you can have that backup. Because like I said, we were under one impression, and then there was no contract. We go to their website, the worst website I've ever seen. It's like it looks like a MySpace page.
Oh no,
it's so bad, bro. And I'm just like, all right, maybe I'll learn something here. Get no information. I got more confused.
Yeah.
So it was tough. It was tough. But you have any questions?
Yeah, I did.
Hit us with it.
No, I have a lot, but I mean, Khuda Bakhshish for your father.
Yeah.
I don't know much about him or anything. And you're going through this grieving process. Can you tell me a little bit about the process that you said? So once Khuda Bakhshish, your father passed away, how many days before he's buried? And also, do you know the Rosa Chill?
Chill cast, it's a cultural thing. We have the chill.
That's not Islamic?
Chill and murda. It's not, to my knowledge, it's not Islamic.
Interesting. Okay.
Because that's the 40th day, right?
The 40th day, it's kind of usually another funeral that happens that day. Like another more. Yes. We do the prayer and we all get
together. But then aren't you supposed to do it every 40 days or something? Or it becomes 80 days after that?
I believe it's the chill, the 40 days after the passing. And then I think there's like the sol.
And then the year?
The Saul, okay.
That's all cultural stuff, which is, he
hasn't got there yet.
Oh, yeah, of course.
A couple,
this just happened.
Yeah, some extremists, they're like, okay, the thing is, you could separate culture and religion, so people are like, oh, it's not in the deen to do all that stuff. It's like, yeah, it's not, but it's especially for the women in the family or people that are very more emotional, it's a good closure for them,
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good kind of closure thing. But as long as you recognize that it's it's not within the bounds of the Sharia, but it's not like a bid'ah because you're not really innovating any type of like it's not, like you can't really say it's an act of worship. It's more like, getting together and remembering someone and you're doing Islamic things like reading the Quran and stuff like that. So
exactly.
It's one of those things. I don't.
Yeah, I think it should be okay.
Yeah, I don't see an issue, but some people say it's it's an innovation. Why do people do this and stuff like that? So,
Were you close to your dad?
My parents were divorced. They got divorced when I was 15.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm 33 now, so they've been divorced for a while. We weren't like super close, you know what I mean? So, but I would visit my dad or talk to him, every few days, every week. We also didn't live super close either. We lived like an hour apart, but
okay.
I would see him like 2-3 times a month, so
yeah.
But he was a busy guy too. He kind of he would always just stay to like he liked to be busy,
Okay.
I don't know if it was like ADHD or something like that. He had because he was in car sales, he's a sales manager in the automotive industry, automotive sales. So like when he was retired, he would like need to play. He would go to senior center and play billiards. He would have to keep busy, play ping pong. He would go to the 24-hour fitness or fitness place and go swimming and stuff like that. He needed to stay busy.
That's
and
awesome.
I think a lot of retired men that are
I was thinking the exact same thing. My father is the same way.
Yeah.
He wants to do Uber just like, not because he needs money, because he's bored.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's I don't know. I think that's more of an American capitalistic thing. Is like you work, and then one day you don't have to do it anymore. And you're like, wait, what now?
Yeah, empty mind is the devil's playground. It's like, what do you do?
Like they're never taught to relax and chill.
Yeah.
So. Like my dad, he plays ping pong. He goes to the gym. He needs to stay occupied as much as possible.
I think you're gonna be like that. Like your ADHD is just kicking in right now. So
I can't. Nah.
You're always gonna have to be busy. So
yeah,
I'm more on the lazier side. I'm like I could kind of chill and just like.
I think that's like a positive thing. Sorry to cut you off, but it's like in our culture, which is cool, which is not in the American culture or anywhere in the West, where we value people that are older. So when we see someone that's like post their 60s or something, like you just said, even that guy that was being disrespectful to you over the phone, like why didn't you have a contract, or I don't need a contract because we're Afghan, you were still respectful to him because that's part of our culture. But I appreciate that a lot because we see the value in elders, and here we're just kind of like, get to that certain age, you're kind of expired, and now you're no longer part of this workforce, so we care less about you, do whatever you want. Versus in our culture, we're just kind of like, hey, they have so much to offer. Maybe it's not just career-wise. I remember being just as a child sitting around my grandfather, and he would just like talk to us and tell us stories and everything. It's fine. It's fine. But
I didn't say anything this time. I just
thank you so much, Yama. But what I'm saying is like the thing with elders, like they have a lot to offer, and we actually talked about it in one of our episodes with the Dima podcast, where we said it would be amazing if there was a facility, not a retirement home, but an actual facility or a lounge, whatever you want to call it, not a retirement home.
An opium den.
Well, if they sometimes they give them those type of medications.
Oh, for sure.
Especially when they're going through cancer.
You're right.
Dude, that's what I'm looking forward to most of being an old guy. All the drugs.
I don't think we could create, because the Afghans were such a small group in America. Maybe in like Fremont we can, but it would ideally
in an Afghan dense area.
Maybe even a Muslim retirement.
Like at least like an Afghan daycare for old people.
Daycare. I like daycare.
They could definitely do that in the Bay Area.
Yeah, just like hey, I have to go work. I'm gonna drop my father off at daycare. He's gonna hang out with the boys.
Exactly.
Because a lot of them they walk to the park and they just hang out with their boys if they can there.
Exactly.
Why not just make it facilitated just in case one of them like has a stroke? There's some like a nurse there or something.
It's a good idea for someone to start this. Whoever wants to take the initiative and do it. Traditionally,
we already decided that we're gonna just
put the
copyright the idea and then make sure nobody else can do it.
Exactly.
The رواج ما که هست چی نمیکنیم. We're not like America kind of just dump their parents when they get older. We tend to take care of them. But it would be good for them to like خدا باشش towards the end. Towards as my dad was getting older, because he lived alone in a bedroom apartment, he had friends. I was like, why don't you go hang out with my friend's dad? He's Afghan. Why don't you hang out? Like, it's a good idea. No one wants to be alone. So I think that's a very good idea for them to have a sense of community, especially as they get older. Because you see, as they get older, they tend to have like kind of less friends, because everybody grows apart. So
yeah,
his friends all had like grandkids and stuff.
You know what's crazy though about the senior homes?
Yeah.
A lot of STDs.
Oh yeah, the rise of
They
STDs.
be fucking.
Shout out to Viagra.
Yeah, dude. Viagra is the reason. I'm sure the invention of Viagra and the rise of STDs in seniors, there's a huge correlation.
Yeah, actually, screw Big Pharma, but
Yeah, I hate Big Pharma.
Yeah.
But, fuck, I was going to ask something. I forgot.
I have more serious questions.
Yeah, I was going to ask one more. Did you cry? Have you cried yet?
well, initially when I discovered the body, I did, but I haven't cried ever since.
You didn't cry at the janazah? I feel like
I did tear up, but I wasn't like bawling.
No, the crying is crying. You don't need to ugly cry to cry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't.
Have you, when, do you remember the last time you cried before this?
I rarely cry, bro. It's like it's kind of, and like, not to say that I'm like, oh,
No.
you know,
Yeah, it's not like you're.
machismo guy or this and that. It's like I get emotional sometimes during movies and stuff, even, you know, this and that. But I don't know if I just have so much trauma or if I'm desensitized because I worked in the operating room and in the emergency room and seen so much death.
A lot of pushing it away and this kind of thing.
Yeah, so
Kane's a huge pussy. He cries all the time, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Well, you are what you eat.
yeah.
We're back.
There we go.
No, you cry reasonably, right?
Yeah.
amount?
If I get sad about something,
Yeah.
I
I
cry
think you have a better grasp on your emotions than we do.
now.
Okay.
It took such a long time, and to be honest, before it was like I think maybe alcohol even. Like I remember drinking alcohol and just seeing two random guys have an argument, and then they started crying, and I was laughing so much. And I was like, look at these losers.
Yeah.
And then one time I was just drinking alcohol myself, and I just started thinking about my grandfather.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I wasn't drinking. Like I turned up, but I'm home alone at this point, right?
see.
And
Yeah.
there wasn't like sad drinking. It was like,
You gotta be careful of that sad.
exactly. No,
Even
I
drinking alone is kind of like
I don't like drinking.
easy
alone.
for sad thoughts to creep in.
Oh, dude. Well, alcohol is a depressant.
yeah, of
You know what I'm
course.
saying? So it's
100%.
like, I've drank once alone by myself. Like I just went home, so I'm gonna get plastered.
Yeah.
This will be fun.
Yeah.
I was
You
like,
realize
I was
this is
19,
not-
and I just got drunk and I started crying. I'm like, what the hell is this?
I was 19 as
This
well
is
when
a terrible.
this happened.
This is a terrible.
And you could see how people just get home from work or whatever, or like get in a dark place when they're by themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, I could never come home, crack one open, kind of a thing. I need alcohol has always been to turn up.
I have a lot of quirks at the hospital. They do that.
A lot. Every person that's American as hell that drinks a few glasses a day. Is what I've noticed.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Like
that as well.
alcoholism is like rampant
Every day.
and it's just kind of like brush under the rug because like it's illegal. And no
I
one
think
cares.
they drink alcohol in other parts of the world daily as well.
100%.
But the thing that's different is like I think America has more sad drinking than other parts of the world, based on my personal experience. And even also, I've seen a lot of people smoke weed and they're like chain smoking weed that I'm like, there's something you're trying to get out. Like some people can't escape, like they can't deal with being sober at certain moments. And that actually kind of segues to what Dauood was saying about you crying. Why don't you cry? Like when will you ever cry if Khuda bakhshe, your father passed and you can't dive into that emotion? Like this,
like when's a more appropriate time than that? You know what
I'm
saying?
thinking like as a man,
I
when
think, sorry to cut you off.
Please, go
I
ahead.
think the only when I discovered the body,
That's when it hit you.
Yeah, when it hit me. But I think I just didn't have time to cry because I was all go. Just all the work that goes into it. It's like, you know, call the coroner, do all this. It was so much work but which is also a good thing to keep busy, to kind of like
to distract yourself.
yeah, to distract
But
yourself.
I think
some people. I'm not a psychologist, whatever, but some people might say that's not healthy. But
Yeah, that's how you cope. It's like you're running away from stuff. But you know, we're not. I can't tell you how to deal with trauma. I am not the guy.
I don't think
I'd
any of
probably
us
make-
are, right?
Okay, I'm the guy. All right.
yeah, I'm definitely.
Do you see how quick I am? When you say I'm not something, I have to just like get defensive.
Okay, Dana White.
Did you see that? So funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Everybody deals with trauma differently, and if you can, I don't know. I have nothing for this.
The only time I actually like bawl,
yeah.
the only time I bawl
Please.
crying, which is weird, I've like caught myself in the car just like crying alone, is when I listen to the Quran. Like
It just makes you.
it just makes
you that angry.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, it makes me want to blow up
Okay.
blonde in the parking lot.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Yama.
Yeah.
So comedy is a good deflector as well.
Well, that's clearly my defense mechanism.
That's every guy's, I think, for the most
A
part.
lot of guys use humor. I think.
Yeah.
But it just
I'm annoying with it.
But please go with the Quran. I think
yeah,
that's a
just
good one.
the Quran Sharif just like it makes me cry, bro. Like when I recite it, when I read it, Not always, but at times, you know. So yeah, that's one of the few times. But other than that, and then movies as well. Some like movies get me all like teared up, but never to the part where I'm like bawling out, crying. You know, I don't think I've ever really like wailed, bawled out, cried in my life. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Which is weird because that just goes to show my dad and I were different people because I've saw him cry a number of times, you know. So
can you explain? Do you remember one time that you saw your father crying?
Yeah, when he thought about his mom and dad, he would cry, you know.
So he thought about death, but outside of death itself, did he cry over just
more the memories
sadness?
of his parents? Yeah, he's like when the family would get together, he'd be like, "Khulabos, just my mom used to make food like this," and he would cry.
Yeah.
Or "Khulabos for my dad."
Reminiscing.
Yeah, just thinking about those. Like you said, "Khulabos about your grandpa." Like it makes you teary.
It makes me tear all the time. The more I think about it.
But this guy's just. All funny. It's good for containing yourself.
It's very hard.
No, he's doing a great job. Just crying. I think in general, it's okay. Let's forget about just being a guy or just like we have to be a certain way.
Yeah, and I have no problems with exposing my emotions. Some people were like, and unfortunately, that's the main thing with men.
I actually disagree because you haven't cried, and you're saying you have a problem. You don't have a problem with.
I think
expressing
something's just
emotions.
wrong with me. To be honest with you, like emotionally.
I think it might be something that's repressed, but
I agree with
I
this.
don't think it's conscious. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he has like this thing. He's like, I don't want to cry
Because I'm a super empathetic person, like more than the average person. But I think it's also Khulawan, like kind of put me like that because in the field I'm working in, you know, to working in the emergency room.
That's such a great point.
Working in the trauma OR, you can't break down because you have to be on your A game.
As someone who has hooked up with a few nurses, they have the darkest sense of humor in the entire planet. It's so morbid because they see such crazy shit.
That is true. Yeah.
That like no fluids are ever like gross to them.
Mm-hmm.
No like jokes.
I'm like that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're like that as well.
Okay. All right.
It's too soon.
No, I was thinking of that video we watched the other day. This is not relevant to anything. With that guy who just comes in that chick's leg and runs away.
Yeah, what was that?
Have you seen that?
No.
Well, it's because they're looking for the guy still.
Oh, he's out there?
Yeah, there's like be on the lookout for this random dude at the dollar store that
The leg comer?
jizzed on some chick's leg.
An AwJiz boy did? Or just the Jizz boy? He's not AwJiz.
Definitely not.
How are we so comfortable just going into like a topic about some guy ejaculating when the conversation is about tears and death? No, I'm saying like just look at ourselves.
I think if you think about it, crying and coming are pretty close, right?
Okay.
There's different types of nuts. Sometimes you gotta cry. Sometimes you gotta nut out your eyes. Sometimes you gotta nut out your body, your penis.
So how do you get more tears to come out of your eye?
Some people watch. So same way you watch porn for your dick,
Yes.
you gotta watch a sad movie for your tears.
But what about just tapping into
Yeah,
your
dude.
own emotions?
Hey, man. Hey, can you jerk off without watching porn?
Yes.
There you go. You are better on both. You can cry without a stimulation. I can't do either. I can't come without watching porn.
Say onions, but you don't get.
Yeah, onions is like the
Aroused
Viagra.
off
Onions is like the Viagra of
tears. Yeah.
But all right. Hey, listeners, ready to indulge in something irresistibly sweet?
Absolutely. If you got a sweet tooth that needs satisfying, head over to Chocolate Bash Sacramento at 8304 Delta Shores. They're crafting some of the most delightful chocolate treats around.
Immerse yourself in their luxurious selection of chocolate desserts that do more than satisfy your cravings. They make a statement of indulgence and celebration.
Whether it's a quick sweet snack or a full dessert extravaganza, Chocolate Bash Sacramento has got you covered.
Dive into their delightful offerings and take your taste buds on a journey at Chocolate Bash. And remember, use our special promo code AwJiz for 10% off your purchases.
And now, let's get back to the show. How do you just tap into it? I mean, okay, Yama, can I ask you, what's your last memory of talking to your father?
My last memory is, when he was, I called him on the phone and he was saying, I wanted to come and see him, and he's like, he was sick. And he's like, no, but I'll just see you next week. Don't worry about it. I was like, I want to come right now and see you, especially if you're sick.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I don't want to get you sick. I'll come down there. We'll all have dinner, with your family, with my sister and all that stuff. So that was the last time I spoke to him as far as on the phone. But, I'm very fortunate because this past year I went on vacation with him. We traveled together.
That's awesome.
That was the first and last time we did a father-son trip. We went to Europe. we got to see, because I have family in, I have family
sure.
in London and Germany. So we went together to London, we went together to Germany. We actually, because I wanted to see my ama so bad, his sister.
Yeah.
That for some reason he booked like more time than I expected in France.
Okay.
So we ended up, I was like, I have to see my ama. So we got a rental car from the Nice, France, and we drove all the way to Frankfurt, Germany, just to see my ama, which was like a 9.5, 10-hour drive. But it was the most beautiful drive. It's not like driving from like LA to Sac, where it's just all like cow poop and the smell. And
I understand.
That's like it's a very scenic, mountainous. The Switzerland was the most beautiful place I've seen.
The Alps.
It was
It's nice that you have those memories, and I think that's so important, because I think a lot of men, they have early memories with their father, but then when they get older, they like their dad, but they don't. I can't, I've never been on a guy trip with my dad. You know what I'm saying? To anywhere,
or just on a trip, right?
Yeah, just me and him. Not since I was a kid. So,
but it's a different dynamic. You have more siblings, and he's the only guy, also.
Yeah.
Right. So with that, I mean, when you travel with your father, did you guys have like intimate conversations about like stuff that you said your parents were separated? So did he tell you some stuff that maybe your mom doesn't even know? Over the years, it doesn't have to be that trip.
Yeah, for sure. My dad was my dad was he liked to have fun, right? So it was he had some wild stories that just men talk about,
probably not appropriate.
Mom should never find out. Well, when you just talk locker room talk,
I understand.
There's things you cannot just tell women just because they'll look like it's just it's a guy thing, dude.
I understand.
Yeah, explaining locker room talk to a woman is hard. I don't think they'd ever understand.
They'd probably think you're just a disgusting misogynist.
We say that, but women, I think, talk about sex with each other way more than we talk about sex.
Yeah. And I've heard them because I work female dominating a medical field, and it's kind of weird for me. It's like, oh, that guy's so hot. He has a big, and it's like, ugh,
Yeah, because
the same way when we talk about it, they'll be like, what the hell?
What I would do, this is what I do with the boys. We see a hot chick, like, damn, look at that, or like, look at this chick. That's what we do.
For sure.
We don't get so much into the nitty gritty, especially if it's someone I'm dating.
Yeah.
I don't be like, dude, heard this and that. But then chicks, they all talk about their boyfriend's penises.
Yeah.
All of my ladies' friends will know.
Yep.
And I'm not even trying to hear this at the hospital, bro. I'm just like the way they talk about it just so openly is wild.
So, okay. So to this conversation, do you think it's cool that women can just have a conversation about sex rather than just not having that conversation at all? Like you have oversharing or not sharing at all.
There's a fine line, right?
I think men share just the right amount when it comes to sex.
I mean, that's all our opinion, right? So
when it comes to sex, I'm sure when it comes to emotions, we undershare very hard.
Okay, fair.
100%, yeah.
I don't fucking tell my boys how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Unless it's funny.
Your boy's more likely to be like, hey, I went to Thailand and banged a tranny than to be like, hey, I'm going through this and I'm sad.
Bro, I am more likely to hear my boy be like, dude,
hell yeah,
I sucked the dick the other day, but I'm not gay. Versus be like,
comments were right.
I just get sad sometimes. Like I don't know what's wrong with me. Like that's the thing, yeah. Yeah, like I'm not a Cooney. I'm tired of it.
No,
I can't. I'm tired of playing along with it.
No, I do get that point where it's like, well, also, to the point where you're reading your audience, like your boys. That if you talk about, hey, I have this emotional response because of X, your boys will, what they're gonna say, like, are you homosexual?
It's gonna be the exact same thing as our comments.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's like in front of your face. So, but like death. Going back to this conversation, it's just so tough. Like if I could just, because whenever I go to a funeral, I don't cry for that person. I cry thinking about the deaths in my family. I think about the people that are not there. Exactly. Obviously, like sometimes I go to a Fatiha and I don't know that person, right? So it's like, and then I'll start thinking about it. And I remember a most recent Fatiha I went in Vancouver, and this guy was tearing up, and I think his sister had cancer, and she was like maybe in her 40s or something like that. And sister passed away, and I think that was the only family member left he was crying. And when I saw that, this guy's like the happiest guy you'll ever meet.
Normally.
Like just so jolly. He's like the life of the party always. They're like, oh, it's so cool. And to see that, my face, like I was tearing up because I'm like, this broke you, bro.
Yeah.
Like this. And part of me was like, yo, thank you for doing this because now I'm crying. And there's things, because like when I cry, it's like, I know it's selfish to think about this, but it's helping me. It's not helping.
100% it is.
It's therapeutic.
Yeah.
You know
It
what
is
I'm saying? I
therapeutic.
agree. And I think like going back to what you were saying with the Quran thing, I'm sure it's the reciting the Quran and the words, but it's also you're taking time to reflect. You know what I'm saying? It's meditation.
100%.
And I think it's those moments that we need. You know what I'm saying? If be at a funeral, seeing another person cry.
For your mental health.
For me, it's all movies. That's my.
Well, it's honest, and like it or not,
Yeah,
we have
we're human,
emotions, and
exactly.
unfortunately, men especially don't like to.
We're not robots.
Yeah, you and I are very close. So you know when I'm sad, or I don't even have to say it at this point. But
Yeah.
but we're a little bit more open to talk about this stuff. But I think we need to normalize that asshole
I
today.
tell my boys I love them all the time.
Yeah.
I tell everybody I love them.
Yeah, it means less when you do that.
Yeah. I told the cashier.
You're right, 100%. Like
I told the
I've seen
cashier the other day, and it kind of weird.
drunk people just like, I love you, man. It's like you. You
don't even know me, dude.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
bro.
No,
Exactly.
I
Love to an Afghan is like I'll ride and die for you.
I would,
AwJiz
100%.
I would ride or
Call
die.
me 3-4 in the morning. I'm coming through. I got your back. Like
Facts.
I'll catch. Like I'll murk someone for you. I'll do anything for you. You're my love. You know.
Exactly.
I'm the
That's
same way.
that's what
But
that
I mean it to every person I say, even the cashier.
Dude,
I'll ride or die for that cashier. All right, he gave me 10% off. Okay, kill the vibe again. Should we lighten up before we
No,
wrap up? No, we're just gonna sit in this.
no, we're gonna sit in this.
Okay.
No. This is it's okay. Thank you, by the way, Yama, for even talking about this.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Because-
No,
This is
that's
a lot.
kind of what you said earlier. I'm like way more goofy and stuff.
No,
like
you're
that.
you're the one of the funniest people I know, and it's like this is hard for me, really, to like be serious. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who knows me knows I use humor as a
24/7.
24/7. I don't take anything serious.
Facts.
So like this is very difficult for me just to sit here and be like, don't make fun of Kane's grandpa. So it's like, but you being here we really appreciate it. Like, and hopefully the people listening, they get a different side of us. You know, we are silly, but we're human beings. We have, emotions like you're saying. I don't, but
And my whole message is, to all the Afghan community and just people in general, like, because there is a lot of young people watching too.
sure.
I know it's a hard topic to talk to with your parents, but have that conversation, especially if you know that you don't have a lot of siblings or a lot of family and stuff like that. And even if you do have a lot of family, this comes dafatan, yagdan misha, ikora. So have those affairs in order. With inflation, obviously cemeteries have limited land and space, so get those affairs in order. Pay into it. It ranges from anywhere from like, a few dollars a month to whatever, up. It's no more than $100 a month, max.
Yeah.
Have that land plot reserved for your loved ones. You could get double plots as well. And then, take care of that and go with a reputable place where there's documentation and have those affairs in order. Because when this stuff happens to your loved one, yagdam, you want to have time to grieve instead of just doing all the logistics and work, And that's my only, if I had to take it back, obviously I would plan more, but I think, I did the best for what it was, so
I see.
I'm the law, so.
Okay, man, that's just such a hard conversation to have.
No, it is. Yeah, no one wants to talk about death, but it's the only thing
You
that's
gotta bring it
it's
up.
promised to you.
every time I bring it up to my parents, they're like, we're not gonna die. And I'm like,
You're not gonna live forever. And
We're
my
not
mom,
gonna
the same thing. She gets
Yeah.
all sad. I was like, "Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un." We're all gonna. كلهم مؤمنين.
Yeah.
That's one thing that-
15-year-old in front of my eyes on the trauma war had cancer and died.
Oh my God.
He had his whole life ahead of him.
That's
you
one
go to the
thing-
cemetery, you look. There's all ages there.
that's one thing the Americans do really well. You know what I'm saying? They set up trusts. They set
Yeah.
up the will. They buy the plot. They're not afraid to have these conversations.
100%.
Whereas Afghans, I know they don't feel comfortable ever bringing it up.
No.
So
And as a Muslim, the Prophet Muhammad SAW talked about death a lot, openly. And he took these preparations to talk to his companions about the demise. And it's something you really have to, we're all promised death. It's something you have to take into account. And Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the Prophet also talked about sex openly, a lot of things that are shunned and taboo culturally or societally, These things, if you study the Sira, these things were talked about openly,
Interesting. Okay. Can you give me a positive memory where I don't know. Is your dad a funny guy?
My dad.
You should tell
the
him the story, bro.
Could you tell us like a funny story?
Tell
Like
him.
tell
you
me
feel
a memory.
comfortable
Yeah,
telling.
you
tend it
remember.
on a light note.
The pizza spot. The
So right here down the end.
Okay, let's-
This is the funniest
Should we say
thing.
the city?
say everything. Who cares?
All right, so we're in San Ramon, and there's a pizza spot. Now it's like some other pizza spot, but I think was it around?
It was called the Skonas. at the
Okay.
time. Yeah.
So it was me, Dauood. We were how old at this? 12, 13?
I think we were 12 or 13.
Yeah.
No, we were. I would like to say we were that young, but we were. I didn't live in San Ramon at that time.
21.
So, yeah, we were like 30. No, we were.
Oh my God.
We were closer to 15, 16.
Oh, we're animals.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So that makes it way worse, but it's still hilarious.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, so my dad likes pizza, right? Specifically round table, but there was no round table close enough in the
Yeah,
area.
it's right next to the house. You know, that's why. Down the street from the house.
Are you sure it wasn't round table?
It's a Skonas, bro. I can
Okay.
take you there right now. They've closed down.
So we go to this pizza place. Me, my dad, and Dauood Sean. We all eat food. We sit down. Then I believe this was after we ate, right?
Yeah, it's after
We
we
went to the restroom.
Wait,
Prior to that, you want to tell a little bit? Go ahead.
Okay, so we go to this pizza place. We're eating. We eat like way more than we can. We also ate before we got there.
Okay.
So we were like stuffed. But also, so we go and we're like, I have to use the bathroom. He's like, I have to use the bathroom. So we both sprint to the bathroom, right? And I push him, and it's one stall and one urinal.
Yes.
And I push him. I make it to the thing. He's, dude, I have to go. Hurry up. And then I do my business. I poo and pee or whatever.
Okay.
I come out of the stall, and this man had
the biggest, most perfect lump of turd just chilling in the urinal.
he pooped in the urinal.
I had to go, and this guy freaking just ran into the bathroom. There's only one like poop stall.
Yes.
So
you guys both had to poop.
We
is
both
what
had to
you're
poop.
Yeah.
I pooped in the toilet. He pooped in the urinal.
Okay.
And he's like, I was coming out. He's pulling his pants.
So
He went to the
buffalo.
thing, get toilet paper, and I see the fattest.
Just the fattest lump of poop just chilling smack dab in the middle of the urinal. So what? And then he comes out and he's like, just die. We're dying laughing.
I've never seen someone poop in the urinal. Yeah, I know this is dirt disgusting.
Yeah, no, please go.
But then the best part is,
The best part is my dad walks in, because he likes to wash his hands before and after meal.
Of course, yeah.
So he walks into the bathroom and then he looks. He's like, he's just looking outside. He's like, "Shut." And then he looks at the urinal. He's like, "Hey, yes, stupid motherfucker." And he goes and he washes his hands. He didn't even fathom that it was his own son, his old relative that did this. He's like, what kind of an Iwan animal would shit in the urinal? He's like, what kind of an Iwan would do this?
yeah, he wouldn't let it go. He's like,
And
what
me
kind of
and
piece
Dauood
of shit?
were already laughing. This just sent us. We were like, we had to exit the bathroom. We were just dying on the floor laughing.
Yes.
Literally, we fell on the floor laughing.
Yeah,
so
it was
hard.
the funniest thing that this man couldn't fathom that his son would do such a heinous act.
Yes.
And it was to this day the funniest thing. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And that place closed down.
Okay.
Probably the worker. I feel so bad for the worker that went in.
Probably
there.
one of the worst acts ever committed in
We
human
should
history.
go there again and do it in my dad's memory.
We should take I'll poop in the urinal. We should both poop in the urinal.
We should both.
Can you tell
Is that
me?
what you wanted?
No, not at all. No, because that has nothing to do with your dad. It's what you guys did.
No, his dad was the
He
made it
was the live
way
reaction
more funny
channel.
by saying like, he's like just so shocked that he even fathomed that it was us. We're the only two people in the bathroom.
He loved his son so much
Yes.
that he overlooked this.
And I think a lot of
terrible thing.
parents do that.
He's
They're
still
like,
laughing.
not my
Okay,
son.
okay.
Exactly. No, my son wouldn't dump in the urinal. As his son is pulling up his pants, coming from the urinal.
Oh my god.
It was.
I want to know a time that your father got mad at you.
The time that my father got mad at me.
Yeah. And ideally a time that Dauood doesn't know.
That's gonna be hard to find.
Well, there's
I
a
remember him calling
time
you fat. You remember that?
where he. So my dad, he would always commemorate his own birthday, but he would always forget my birthday, right? So there was one time when I was a broke kid. I think I was like 11 or 12, and then he didn't have money, so he gives me money to buy him a birthday gift. But earlier in that day,
I remember this.
I wanted Burger King. For some reason, he wouldn't buy me Burger King. So what I ended up doing is taking that money and buying myself Burger King. And then I come back, and then he's like, "Where the hell's my gift for my birthday?" I'm like, "You know about it?" or-
I remember a different story. I think you did this more than once.
I've definitely done it more than once. But what was the story you remember?
He gave you money to go buy him a card for Father's Day or his birthday or something.
Okay.
And then you went and you bought a fish tackle, like a tackle box,
Because I love fish.
Yes.
instead of getting him a card.
That was another time too.
That's fucking ridiculous.
And then he was just lost his shit. He left me at the mall. My mom had to pick me up. He got so mad.
Does your father beat you? Did he beat you?
Not often. But like that's the thing. My sister, daddy's the stereotype of daddy's girl, mama's boy.
Yeah.
Like my sister got away with a lot of shit without getting hit. Even though like I think she probably hit or he probably hit her a few times. But
I see.
He's hit me before, but not often. He didn't beat me that often.
In hindsight, do you wish he beat you more? Sorry, it's a weird
what
thing
the
to say.
fuck, bro?
I'm not into that type of
No,
domination
no,
stuff.
not like that.
You know?
I just mean like discipline-wise. Do you
like,
think that you would have?
Kind of freaky shit. Daddy beat me more.
No, like
Choke
You
me.
didn't love me. What?
Yeah, dude. Hey, man, what are you fucking saying,
What
gang?
the
what
hell?
I'm trying to say is like, clearly you guys had issues with being disciplined,
The fuck
right?
you talking about? I was disciplined.
To poop in a urinal.
Okay, don't
Right?
use it against us.
No,
we
right?
we share
So what
a
I'm
funny
saying
memory.
is, especially when your father
But
comes
you
in,
have to go. You have to go. It's either your pants, the bonnet, or the urinal.
You know what's just funny? I just
One of
realized
those things are made for.
That was
for,
a double entendre for Farsi. When you have to go, you have to go.
Oh yeah.
Ah.
Go. Yeah.
Go.
I see it.
Okay.
Okay,
Perks.
but
Wait a minute.
shouldn't your father have beaten you more?
No, yeah. I hear what he's saying. He's saying, why didn't your father poop in the urinal?
No.
Well, there's one time he hung me upside down in the garage for like hours, and my mom came home and she was like about to divorce him on the spot.
That's
so I think
wild.
ever since then he didn't really beat me that much.
Hours?
Yeah, I was like,
Or like an hour?
No, like probably like more than an hour at least.
Like just holding you?
He come out
No, he like had him strapped.
Oh, I see.
with the belt hanging from my feet.
So what did you do? Do you remember?
I don't even remember. I was such a shock kid though, dude. I was
Okay.
like
You were a
such
bad kid.
You were a show kid,
Such
and
a bad
that's
kid.
okay. That's kind of cool.
You're right. In retrospect, probably did deserve more of a beating.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true. He got hit a lot by everybody else in the family.
Yeah, everybody else.
Everyone else beat
It was
Yeah.
weird because like I remember my aunts and uncles would hit him, which is such a weird thing. Like it's one thing to hit your own kid,
Yeah.
but to hit your niece or nephew, that seems odd to me.
I deserved it, dude.
Interesting.
Not to say you didn't deserve it, but it still feels like they should tell your mom and your mom should hit you or your father.
I mean, I have nephews.
Would you hit them?
I've hit them.
That makes me uncomfortable. I don't think I could ever raise my hand to my niece or nephew.
I slapped my younger
That's your
cousin
personality,
once.
I
Yeah.
think. I think that's your personality because you don't want to be the bad guy.
Yeah, I don't want to.
So I am like, I rather, because here's my thoughts. Okay, this is the reason I'm bringing this up.
Yeah.
I think that your father is the only man that cares the most about you and is not your friend. That's it. That's the best way to describe this person. And that person's goal is to make sure you become a better version of them because you're a reflection of your father. If you really think about it, you're essentially your father. So Khuda babakhshish, like your father, like clearly he's a funny guy, an amazing guy, a hardworking guy. And I don't know that, but I see it in you. And I see that he's raised you to be respectful. He's raised you to retain your language, retain your culture while also being American. So all this that I'm seeing is just who you are. Yeah. And I think about myself, like my goal is to be like obviously a father and be a good father. And the hardest thing about all of this is the fact that I don't want to be friends with my son or my daughter. I don't want that dynamic. I want them to see me as the figure that they can come to when they're in trouble, as someone they can come into, talk to them when they don't know the right way or they want to make a moral judgment. They say, what do you think? Even if they don't listen to me and they make me angry afterwards.
You don't think you could be both as they get older, especially like more of their friend? Because that's what my dad.
I think
was
when you
trying
get
As
older,
they get older,
when you
yes,
get older,
I
sure.
agree. But I'm talking about in those important years.
100%. Yeah, you need to be their dad, not a friend. And unfortunately, some people.
Because I'm thinking about it right now. I want to be my kid's friend from day one.
Well, that's what you don't want to do. Is I've seen some dads where they're more of a friend, less of a father.
Yeah.
It's a balance.
It's the balance.
You need to be more friend as they get older and mature.
Yes.
And still obviously be a father, but you need to be way more father, especially before from birth to puberty.
I think there was a quote was like, 100%. I can be your father now, or if I'm your father now, I can be your friend later.
Yeah.
Or if I'm your friend now, I'll have to be your father later.
Interesting.
But a great father and a great man does both.
Does both.
I see it with my uncle. He does both.
Yeah.
That's good, mashallah. And that's, to be honest, that's where one of the things I love about our culture. I talked about respecting our elders. I actually think that we look at the father, like in the household, usually, like that's the person leading us. And men in our culture usually take that responsibility to heart. Like, I have to make sure I provide. I have to make sure I'm a good leader for my family. Do you think your father was that? If I have to ask you, just like, what is your thoughts? Do you think your father, is there something you ever looked at your father and be like, he wasn't enough, or he didn't do this for me? What is your thoughts about your father now? Khuda bakhshish. And sorry for asking this question.
worries.
I don't mean
Bakhshish.
anything negative when I ask this.
Allah yarham. You know, I know especially in death, everybody has regrets, you know?
Yeah.
I had regrets, like maybe I should have spent more time with them. You know, my sister has regrets. Everybody in death, everybody has regrets.
Yeah.
But that's just normal. And you can't think like that. You know, my dad, he did the best he could coming from Afghanistan, you know, being in survival mode, escaping the communist Russians.
Yeah.
And kind of, you know, trying his best to assimilate here to Western culture, to America. So I can't really hold anything against them. Obviously, I've seen, you know, my uncles, and there's better dads out there. There's always going to be someone better at something, whether it's being a dad or whether it's anything, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, my sister was a little bit more like, you know, holding a grudge, like maybe he could have been a better dad, you know? But for me, it's like, he did the best he could, you know, so I can't hold anything against him. You know, nobody's perfect.
Yeah. I think maturing is realizing that your parents
More mature, yeah.
are just human beings that are trying their best. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
And like if I was to be a father right now, I'm sure I would royally fuck it up. You know what I'm saying? But I would do my best, and that's all you can ask for.
Because I know people that are deadbeat dads too. Let's just be honest.
Yeah,
You know?
and you know, if even them, dude, there's so.
For people that even know their dad, at least, alhamdulillah, I'm lucky to have known my dad, to spent the time, traveled with them.
Yes.
Like you said, even though your dad's a great dad, but you haven't traveled with him. Like,
Yeah.
I've done, you know, so it's, you can always say, oh, I haven't done this, I haven't, and complain. But the way I look at it, you know, for what it was, you know, like, I'm very fortunate.
For sure. That's nice.
That's amazing, bro. Thank you again
Thank you so much
for being on our podcast.
I appreciate it.
And thank you for the guests for listening to this. Not as funny. We try to have some funny moments.
Promise I'll be funnier. Still breathing, but
Yeah.
Yeah. When I could tell you wanted to be funny, but we also wanted to be kind of a serious episode. So it's when it's this kind of subject matter, it's kind of hard to make light of it.
Could we end it with the dua?
Yeah.
Here's the dua.
Please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدني الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم اغفر المسلمين والمسلمات اللهم اغفر لي اللهم اغفر لهم كل المسلمين Ya Allah, forgive us our sins, and forgive all our loved ones, my father Azim Sayyidi, and Allah Yarham, Kane's grandfather, and Dauood John's grandmother, and all our loved ones that passed away. May you forgive them for all their sins, and make light of their grave, and admit them into Jannat al-Firdaus al-A'la. Wa sallallahu Sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Ameen.